Hey, welcome to Granite Farms, where you can do more for less on the farm and in your home. Are you wondering, should I lay vinyl plank flooring in my home? Is it worth it? Is there anything better? Is there anything faster? Is there anything more durable? Okay, here's how we laid 75 square foot of vinyl plank flooring in just 6 hours for under $400. I would say yes, it's worth it, but keep watching, subscribe, hit the bell so you can get more DIY tips on doing more for less on the farm and in your home from Granite Farms. Okay, here's my tip of the day when doing vinyl plank flooring. Put on a really good movie. You guys, it makes the time fly by. I had 6 hours of flooring to lay. 3 movies later. Now I'm not watching them, and it might slow me down a bit if there's a really interesting scene. Yeah, I keep doing that. See, look, I'm normal. Normal things happen to normal people. Too much chocolate. Yeah, you ever have too much chocolate? Just need chocolate? This flooring was, awesome once I got the hang of it. Now there's a small entryway where I practiced first, and I started in the closet area just to get the hang of it. And I will say it took me 6 hours to do half the size flooring when I was first learning. So I'm going to give you tips on how to save time and how to save money when you're laying your vinyl plank flooring. Keep watching, subscribe and like. If I've already said that, forgive me. Here's how to save time. Use a saw. This thing they sell for vinyl cutter, no. Ladies, that is not for you. It takes way too much upper arm strength, and it doesn't cut all the way through if you have a wider plank. And wider planks is your time-saving tip. Do not buy the thin planks, buy the wider planks, because you have to hammer all of them in several times. You have to do each side and the middle. And if you have wider planks, that's less hammering that you're going to have to do. It will save your arms. Buy Epsom salts. Take a nice soaking bath because your joints, or if you're like me, your joints might get sore. It's a lot of squatting and a lot of hammering, and I got sore in places I didn't know I could exercise. My fingers, for one. All of my joints in my fingers. Yeah, I've been painting black today. So there's your tips. Wide planks. Use a saw, not the tile vinyl cutter, and Epsom salts. Take care of yourselves. Soak. Also spread it out over time. If you do this over 2 or 3 days, your body will thank you and you can get it all done. I laid this 75 square foot room in 6 hours. I took 2 different evenings, about 3 hours apiece, and laid it. Now I have laid an entire 1,200 square foot house before, and that I spread out over 2 weeks. Now it was my own home, so I wasn't in a rush to get it done. You could do it in a week or faster if you had a team of people. I know that you could. However, if you're doing it by yourself and it's your own project in your own home, don't rush yourself. Take time. You can get your cuts right and make it look nice. So I have a tip on this video about doing corners. If you're curious or you have some really funky corners, maybe you don't have a square room and you have to get around something, like in our case, an octagon kind of shaped fireplace. I guess it's not an octagon. What is it? It has 5 sides. Hectagon? Pentagon? Oh, I was bad at math. Bad at geometry. Oh, sorry. Look that up. Here's how to do those really tough angles. And our kitchen even had these angles at the sink. If you have like a corner base and you have to get in there, and you're going to need to cut your vinyl at an angle and get it right. And so here's the tip my husband showed me. I'm going to show you a drawing because I'm a visual person, and yes, he had to teach me how. He also informed me that men are better with geometry problems, spatial problems, and women are better communicators. I say that's true. I give him props for that. That's true. So here is a picture of how we did that. What you're going to do is measure your shortest point and your longest point, draw those on your plank, and then draw a line from one to the other. This is your angle, and this is what you will cut off. Okay. I also learned a lesson about doorways. If you have a doorway, try not to start there because you are hammering the pieces together and there's nothing behind the doorway to save that piece from sliding. It will be really, really hard if you do not start against a wall. I did it the hard way. But this was my second house to do, and I still did it the hard way. I mean, I should have started in the wall in the kitchen, not the doorway. Why did I start in the doorway? I don't know. It just seems like you're entering the room and that's the place to start. That's not true. You can start on either side of the room, but you do need to lay the tile where it clicks together towards you. You don't want to have to be sliding it under. You want to slide it on top. Click it. Second tip, ladies. There should be no spaces between these boards. If you see a space, hammer it harder. You can't hammer too hard, really. If you mess up one of the pieces, I'm going to replace it with another one. I'm going to get extra for this reason. Hammer it hard. You will be so glad that you did. You won't have those funky looking spaces. Also, you get an option. Should I do 1/4 of an inch from the wall or 1/2 inch? Because the spacers they sell have both. Do 1/4 of an inch. Get it as close as you can. Otherwise, it will start to spread itself back out again. I've heard a lot of people say they have this problem with vinyl plank flooring. It starts to spread out in the room after you lay it and space out and look really bad. Well, how much space did they leave around the edges of the room? Okay. Also, you're supposed to cover those edges back up. Use 3/4 trim or regular trim, whatever you need to use, but cover it back up. Now, when we came to covering back up space, I spent 2 hours just on cutting trim because I hate angles. Angles are for men. Okay, they're not. That was sexist, but I'm a woman and I did really poor in geometry. What can I say? Statistics? Yay, geometry. Not me. But you don't need a lot of geometry to cut vinyl. It is a lot of straight cuts. You can do this. You will also need, along with the kit, I highly recommend you just go ahead and buy the kit with the blocks that help you, a mallet, a pair of really nice pliers, a good pair of gloves, a really sharp X-Acto knife. And I say a good pair of gloves because I cut myself through my gloves. They were a very thin layer on top. I'll show you here in a second. And rubbery on the bottom. But the vinyl, I've cut myself with the knife and with vinyl. The first time before I wore the gloves, the vinyl cut me. So, wear gloves. Knee pads. Knee pads are awesome. If you're doing a small area, not that big of a deal. However, saved my knees when I was 1,200 square foot. Yeah, knee pads. I hope this video has helped you out. Brave, get brave. Do it afraid if you're still afraid of doing it. If you're afraid of messing it up, once it's there, it's forever kind of thing. You're gonna have to look at it for the rest of your life. I promise you, you will stop noticing those little blemishes where you thought you messed it up, and you will just enjoy the fresh, new look that you've created in your home. So give it a try. Thanks, like and subscribe. Tell your friends, come back for more DIY in your house and on the farm. We chose this oak color and used a bifolding material underneath. The red tape is extra tape we purchased for where you cut so you can tape it together. I'm showing you the corner where we started. Be sure to use spacers 1/4 inch. Here's a look at it halfway done. Fitting them together, you want to make sure when you're at a corner not to cut off the end so you don't have to glue it down. You want to make sure I'm going to use a little bit more than 1/4 space here, and I will cover it with trim later. However, you want to make sure that you have extra going around the corner so you have something to connect to. Make sure that you're able to connect. So I will cut it off short. Do you see that's going under? Putting it together using the mallet and the block, hammering it into place. You want to be sure that you can't see any spacing there. such a pretty color. I love, love, love it. And there's the angle I had to cut. We'll get to angles in a minute on another color of flooring. I actually don't prefer this thinner kind where you have to use an underlayment. After first laying this, I chose a kind that had the underlayment already on it, and I would recommend that. It's thicker and it actually stays together better. So I make sure to clear off all the, you get a lot of kind of crumbs from when you're cutting it, or dust or sawdust, I guess. Vinyl plank flooring dust. So I just wipe that away with my hand, and I should be wearing gloves, notice, but I'm not. Fit it together, make sure to get it as tight as you can. And when you hammer it down on the short edge, it's okay if like a little gray film comes up. That happens often. That means you're getting it nice and snug. You want that. Hit it as many times as you have to get it snug. Start at one end and work your way down until the crack fills. Voila, 6 hours later. Now all we have to do is trim the edges and we will be done. It looks great, right? You can do it too. Drop me a comment below and let me know what kind of flooring you chose and what color and what you learned about doing the flooring. If you run into an interesting angle like this around the base of our fireplace, here's what you need to do. Measure the short edge, the length and the width, and then write it down. Draw your picture like this, and then trace your angles. And then take it to the saw and cut where you need to cut. In this case, I did not worry about fitting it together. I just glued it down. It was one of the last pieces in the room. There was almost no way for me to be able to fit it together. Here's what it looked like in the end. We will put some trim right there. Drop us a note and let us know how your flooring went. Good luck. Would you help us out? We're new here on this channel. Subscribe and hit the like button for us. Hit the bell to see more DIY and tips where you can learn how to do life on the farm for less.